So last year we organized a series of parties to celebrate our 25th birthday as a school, but we didn't save you any cake. So sorry about that. But as I'll explain at the end, we have something even more special lined up for you today. Now, if we're only 25 years old, you might think that we're a relative newcomer at Duke, but just as I've been celebrating my 25th birthday for the last 33 years, we're not completely truthful about our age. This school was formed in 1991 by the merger of three existing parts of Duke University: the Duke Department of Geology, the Duke University Marine Lab, and finally the Duke Forestry School. And as you can see, all these units trace their roots back to the 1930s. As a result of this merger, we are, as far as I know, the only school in the environment anywhere that boasts all three of the following assets. We have in-house geosciences expertise, we have a marine lab, and we have a university forest. And these are very valuable assets to us for our research and education, and ones that you will benefit from in your program. This also indicates that we really cover the environment. Now, talking about assets, a big asset we also have is being here at Duke University. I've worked at 4 different universities so far, and I still have my job here, but I hope it stays at 4 universities for the rest of my career. Duke is really unusual in its commitment to interdisciplinarity, and we see that through the dual degree programs that we have, which many of you are enrolled in. In fact, we have dual degree programs with neighboring universities. We see the interdisciplinarity through the existence of institutes like the Nicholas Institute of Environmental Policy Solutions, where some of you may have an opportunity to work. Initiatives like the Energy Initiative. Duke also has a strong commitment to globalization, global engagement. And one big way we see that is through Duke's investment in the creation of Duke Kunshan University in China, where this fall, and I don't know if it's this week or next week, but soon, that university will be welcoming its first class of students in an International Masters of Environmental Policy, which is a program that the Nicholas School and the Sanford School are jointly administering with Duke Kunshan University. And that may create some opportunities for you to interact with those students. And lastly, Duke's motto is knowledge in the service of society. And so we value really highly fundamental inquiry in the sciences, natural and social sciences both, to learn about how the world works, how humans are affecting it, what the impacts on humans are. But we also value applied problem-solving research. And this is particularly important for your program, a professional master's program. So great asset being here at Duke, and indeed a major reason why I came to Duke was the fact that Duke has these features. I wanted to comment about that picture in the upper right. In case you're wondering, our earth sciences faculty no longer smoke pipes while they're demonstrating the fine art of breaking rocks. Now, the absence of pipe smoking in the classroom is just one indication of how far we've come in 25 years or 75 years, however you want to count. These are photos of 2 of our newest facilities: Environment Hall, which is just over there, and the Pilkey Lab on our campus in Beaufort at the Duke University Marine Lab. We lit these buildings in green last spring in a peaceful statement about our commitment to the Paris Accord on climate change. I mentioned already the sense of deja vu that I had met some of you on Admitted Students Weekend and seen all the energy that you embody. It was great to see you then, and I'm delighted to see so many of you back. On Admitted Students Weekend, I told you about 5 distinctive features of our professional master's programs. And I say programs because we have both an MEM and a Master of Forestry. And our MEM has its residential flavor and also a distance learning-based flavor, the Dell MEM program. And I met with those students this morning. I'm not going to repeat these 5 now. I know you've been studying them diligently in preparation for the diagnostic quiz that happens right after my comments here. Kidding, okay. I do want to call out 2 of these features though. Number 3, return on investment. We are committed to making our master's programs worth your time worth your money, worth the effort that you put into them. We know how much you are giving up by being here and how much you're paying to be here. When you finish, we want you to have the knowledge and the skills that you need to pursue the careers of your choice. And we don't want you to be crushed by a heavy debt burden. I financed my education, undergraduate through PhD, by a combination of scholarships, jobs, and loans. So I've been there. I know what that means. Financial aid is my #1 fundraising priority. Last fall, I announced a $25 million financial aid initiative. We made very good progress on that already, and we'll keep pushing toward that goal. The other aspect I want to call out is the last one here, of respect, but I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. Let me share some impressions of North Carolina, the Nicholas School's home state, and where you now find yourselves. This will be your home for the next 2 to 3 years, depending on which program you're in. And I think it's true that most of you have not spent much time here before. So let me tell you a bit about the state. I'm not going to go into more detail in these remarks on our program. You're going to get plenty of that over the course of the week, so I'll take a somewhat different course here. I mentioned already that I've had a bunch of different jobs, haven't been able to keep a job, but finally Duke took pity on me and hired me. But I've moved around. So I grew up in the Midwest, Northwest Ohio. I lived in New England for 20 years at various points. I lived in Southern California for 6 years. Spent a couple of summer fellowships in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland. I've lived in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for a year and a half, early 90s. Had a couple of extended stays in Stockholm. And I've been here now 10 years. I've enjoyed all the places where I've lived and worked, but I've especially loved it here. And why is that? Well, let's start with the outdoors. My introduction to North Carolina was the Smoky Mountains in the western part of the state. And when I was in college, my roommates and I hitchhiked down to go backpacking during spring break in the Smoky Mountains. And I fell in love with the mountains then. The forests there are gorgeous. They're the most biologically diverse forests in the continental U.S. Science-based environmental management in the United States started in those mountains, a place called the Cradle of Forestry in the late 1800s. At that time, there was not capacity in the United States to do science on natural resource and environmental management to determine how to manage the country's natural resources. That started in this state at the Cradle of Forestry. In that area, there are lovely and lively towns, such as Asheville, that's pictured here. If you head east from here, you hit the Atlantic coast. I hope you know that much. North Carolina has beautiful beaches, and the water is nice and warm. And I'm a real baby about cold water, so I really like the fact that we are touched by the Gulf Stream. This is a picture of Pivers Island, where our Marine Lab is located. True story, if you go there, you can be at the Marine Lab looking across a channel at wild horses on the islands, and while you're looking at the wild horses, dolphins will jump out of the water and interrupt your view. Not bad, okay? One of the perks of being dean is I get to go down to the Marine Lab about once a month. Now, obviously, where we are now in Durham is a more developed region of the state. The Research Triangle, which is formed by 3 cities, Durham, Chapel Hill, and Raleigh. Each of which has a major research university. Duke, of course, in Durham, UNC Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill, and NC State in Raleigh. And in the middle of those, there's Research Triangle Park, major high-tech industrial park. This area is one of the top technology centers in the country. It's one of the fastest growing regions in the country, with people like me and now you coming here to live, to work, to study. It's a diverse and cosmopolitan region, and no part of the Research Triangle is booming more than Durham is. Now, Nicholas School faculty, students, alums work all over the world, but this combination that North Carolina has of these natural assets with the mountains, the forests, the coast, the rapid urbanization, make this a particularly important place to be doing environmental work. And indeed, many of our faculty, students, and alums do work here. I'd like to take a moment to address recent events, and I did talk to some of you on Friday already. Okay, it's been a tense 10 days. The tragedy in Charlottesville was followed here in Durham on Monday by the toppling of a Confederate statue at the old Durham County Courthouse. And then on Friday, there was a rumored rally by the KKK in downtown. Fortunately, that rally did not occur. Even closer to home, on Wednesday night, a statue in the Duke Chapel, a statue of Robert E. Lee, was defaced. And then on Saturday, just a couple days ago, Duke President Vince Price informed the Duke community that the statue's been removed, which in my view is the right decision. I particularly applaud this part of President Price's statement. We have a responsibility to come together as a community to determine how we can respond to this unrest in a way that demonstrates our firm commitment to justice, not discrimination, to civil protest, not violence, to authentic dialogue, not rhetoric, and to empathy, not hatred. Over the past couple days, demonstrations have occurred in other parts of the country too, as I'm sure you've heard. My wife and daughter flew up to Boston yesterday, where my son lives and my daughter attends college. And as you probably know, on Saturday on Boston Common, there were some 40,000 counter-protesters who gathered to protest an event that was organized by hate groups. So we're in unsettled times. And given that, I want to emphasize that the Nicholas School embraces and celebrates diversity as a core value, and we strive to foster an inclusive community where everyone feels valued and respected. We have no tolerance for bias or for hate. And I'd like you to take a moment to read the statement here, which is our statement of our commitment to diversity and inclusion. I and other leaders of the school work actively and intentionally with the senior leadership at Duke University to create a safe and welcoming campus climate for students, staff, and faculty of all backgrounds. I'm very proud of our school community and how we work together to strengthen our community. We have a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion. We have a ways to go with respect to diversity, as suggested by this photo, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a community that's more inclusive than ours. This week, you're going to learn more about how you can be part of our community and how our community is here to support you. I welcome any feedback, any ideas, any criticism that you're willing to share to help us achieve our goal of creating a more diverse and inclusive community. You have ways to provide feedback directly to me. I have dean's office hours twice a week, and the schedule for those will be posted soon. I have those throughout the academic year. You're welcome to come by during those office hours and meet with me, and I would love to have you stop by. We have two last pieces of business before you go on to the next session. First, I want to thank the staff, the students, the faculty who have done so much to put Orientation Week together and to make it possible for you to come here and have a great experience and to welcome you. So if you please join me in a round of applause for all those folks. Last item. I mentioned at the outset that we forgot to save you cake from our 25th birthday party. We are so good at environmental management that we arranged a solar eclipse for you. Okay? And I know that's really exciting, but I want to ask you to please practice safe eclipse viewing. Engaging in eclipse viewing without protection can have serious and lasting consequences. For this reason, in your registration envelope, you will find a pair of NASA-approved solar eclipse viewing sunglasses like these. Please use them. Let me demonstrate. Take it out of the wrapper. Okay. Open it up. Okay. And put them on. Okay. You're starting at the Nicholas School on an auspicious day. Please enjoy it responsibly. Once again, welcome, and I look forward to getting to know all of you as the year unfolds. Thank you.